Hey, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Jazzy Faux and our good friend, the God Mod themselves, and our good friend, the God Mod themselves, Fanny Slam. This is going to be the podcast Faux the Streamers. Welcome to the very first episode. Today, we are going to just be covering some of the basics that we think is not only crucial for some streamers to know, but also some things that maybe like they should take into account, as well as maybe going over some of the resources that we will be providing for those of you who subscribe to this Patreon tier. By the way, if you do subscribe to this Patreon tier, thank you so much. I really do hope the information here helps you, even if only a little bit. Trust me when we say, not only is it going to be things that we think is going to be common sense, but also adding our individual opinions to that. Also, I'm a full-time content creator as well. Fanny also does stream, but they're definitely more on the mod side. Before we get into it, remember, we're only going over the basics today. So, Fanny, where do you want to start?
Yeah, there are definitely a lot of things that I've seen popping into one of my favorite things to do is just pop into a stream that, Twitch says has one viewer and just see what they're doing and why they have one viewer, apparently.
Yeah,
I say apparently because Twitch likes to lie about your view count.
all the time. I
All
can't
the
tell you how
time.
many times I've gotten raids of like 2 people. There's like 4 people that say they came from the raid.
Exactly. We'll post
Crazy.
a raid message.
It's like
Yeah.
that's like double the amount, like it's crazy.
Exactly. The
Annoying.
reason they don't count as viewers, and I can talk about the multiple reasons that they don't count.
Yeah, we'll
So
definitely get
a
into
lot of
that.
things are to do with the video player not playing properly, and if the video's not playing, then you don't count.
It's crazy.
Um,
I thought I
yeah.
remember Twitch support saying that like in a tweet, the only thing that doesn't count is if it's not like an audio only listener.
Which is completely false. Completely false on the audio. Twitch.
Thanks, Twitch.
Yeah. Twitch is not what's the word? Transparent with what is being affected and how, and that stops creators from being able to work with their data if we don't know what affects the data.
Understandable.
But yeah, I like to go into streams with my mod cap on and just be like, hey, what are they doing? And a lot of the time I'll see certain people in chat not necessarily being a nuisance, but not being the kind of viewer that people want to be around. And the streamer just lets that happen because they want the view. Not so much a nuisance, just saying things that as another viewer you may not want to be around.
Can you
And
give
as
me
a
an
streamer,
example?
I've gone into a stream before and someone's just being overly negative. You suck at this game. Why don't you do this instead? And this in the game. Just taking over the chat and the stream a bit. And
Yeah.
the streamer wants that one view when they don't realize that there are actually others keeping a bit quieter, like, 4 or 5 others who haven't said anything, who see that a chatter is taken over and the streamer's not doing anything, and they're like, okay, well, maybe I don't want to be here because it kind of seems a bit toxic, a bit negative.
Yep.
And so for that one loud viewer, you've now lost 5 people in the back.
That's true. And I know a lot of people would just say like, oh, well, that's the only person talking. How can I not let them take over? And it's like, while you're right, you don't want to let them take, I get that. Like they are the only ones talking, so that makes sense.
Exactly.
The issue with that is like, it's okay if only one person is talking. If I pull in anywhere between like 40 and 50 plus people now, and I still have times where I only have one person talking. The difference is that one person talking is not saying heinous things, like
exactly,
or they're not being toxic. And I think that kind of segues into a slight topic that we may talk about at some point, which is be the person that you want to attract. Tyler one is super like, I don't give a shit. You can be toxic.
Yeah.
Who fucking cares?
Yeah.
And that's okay because that's what
he's definitely got that community.
Yeah, exactly. That's the community he's okay having.
Yeah.
I and like people like well me and who I base my stream off of, Co Carnage,
Yep.
my big
Yep.
inspiration. We bring in we try and bring in communities that are like just really like wholesome, really
Yeah.
like
Positive. Yeah.
positive people, or even if they're not positive, right? Because everyone has bad days, but like
Yep.
then everyone else who's positive will bring that energy to that
Yeah.
person, right? So I try, and so I've had people come in and just be like, I mean, there's there's examples of both ends of the spectrum, which is like
Hmm.
one who comes in and just goes, "You're a shit streamer." I don't even know this person. That was the first message. It was like, "You're a
Yeah.
shit streamer. You'll never make it." And I was like, "Oh, okay, Lamel." Like, and then I just ban them, move on with my life. I don't need
Yeah.
that. But then I've also had people who come in who it's like they don't obtusely say anything wrong, but it's just so
Mm.
obviously negative, and
Yeah.
and it's like very pessimistic,
Yeah.
and um I try and tolerate that because
Mm.
maybe they're going through a hard time, but we recently had to cut someone off from the
Hmm.
community because we gave them a lot of chances, but at the end of the day, I think what I just had to understand was it's not my place to
No.
fix them. I'm not their
Exactly.
I'm not their therapist. If I can give someone some
No.
entertainment and like make them smile,
Yeah.
that's great. But at the end of the day, I
Yeah.
am not responsible for how they act. And though
Mm.
I want to give them chances, there just comes a line where you just have to be like, okay, look, man, you just can't be saying that. Like
Yeah.
every time you come in here, you're just talking about like how shit the world is. And it's like, yes, the world is
Yeah.
shit, but watching a streamer, watching a TV show, watching
Yeah.
anything that's entertainment is for the most part like a form of escapism. I don't come
Mm.
here to listen to you talk about how like garbage the world is. And it's like I get it. You may be going through a hard time and that's fine. We can talk about like world, events, tragedies,
Mm.
news,
Mm.
but like don't come in and like, every single time and just be like, yes, well, I came in today and I just want you to know that yeah, all people who are homeless suck. And it's like
Whoa.
it's like, okay, well, why? And then, and
Yeah.
then and then they'll be like, oh well, they could have just stood on their own 2 feet. It's like, well, that's an opinion you're allowed to have.
Yeah.
I don't really need that negativity in my life, and I don't know why we're talking about that.
And I think the viewer needs to remember that you are an entertainer to the masses. You are not their entertainer. And as a streamer and as a mod to a streamer, you need to enforce that, this is a community, this is a public platform. As much as we are friendly with each other, when you're, just one person in a stream, you are not BFFs with the streamer. He's at work, you know, for
Yeah,
you. He's
exactly.
at
Yeah,
work,
exactly.
entertaining, what will in the future be hundreds of thousands of people. He can't please everybody. And
And
for
and and
you,
nor should you try to please everybody. Again,
no,
again,
no, because
play
then you're
play up.
setting yourself up for
Exact.
just falling apart.
Yeah, I tried to do that. As Fanny can attest, Fanny's been my mod for a while.
Yeah,
You can't please everybody. You just need
yeah,
to cut like excise the bad beef, as it were,
yeah,
um, so it doesn't ruin the rest of it. Like
yeah.
it's like Fanny said, getting rid of one person could
Mhm.
potentially save you five, and
Yeah.
that's something that's real and that I've experienced firsthand. Um,
Mhm.
because while trying to
Because
please everyone, it drove other
yeah,
people off.
and a lot of viewers, a lot of people in life are uncomfortable saying they're uncomfortable.
Yeah,
It's the
especially
whole
because it's
life.
your stream, right? Like it's not
Yeah.
like it's like,
Well,
well, they could
also,
just go anywhere else. They could just go somewhere else,
yeah,
right? And
yeah,
that's so much easier for a viewer to just leave than it is to be like, hey man, I'm uncomfortable.
yeah,
Because
exactly,
they're like, well, why
exactly.
should I do that? Like,
This isn't my place, kind of thing.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And so, yeah, you need to make sure that the majority is comfortable. And that's why you need to have rules, and to a point, you need to be an asshole when you need to be. Um,
True though, it's true. It's like tough love. It's like because eventually you're just gonna need to Like I said,
Yeah.
like you just gotta bite the bullet and be like, okay, they're just not doing it for
When
me.
they haven't taken
Exactly.
the hint, you need to be like, "Hey, this isn't okay, man.
Yeah.
This is what we want.
Shape up
You're
or
doing
ship out.
this." Yeah, exactly. And a good way to do that as a streamer, you have a good mod team,
Hmm.
because the streamer is there to entertain. First of all, the mod team is there to moderate.
Hmm.
So, you know, you don't have to have many. You don't have to have them just be there all the time. Um, but you need communication, you need honesty, and you need to just make sure everyone's on the same page and let them do the job of moderating.
And I just want to bring a small point up to that. And that is just the fact that I know you might be saying, but Jazzy, Danny, I'm a small streamer. I stream to like 2 people. I don't have a mod team. I don't have mods. I don't even have a single one. And that's fine. Just
Mhm.
mod yourself, but
Mhm.
mod the way that you would want your mods to act when you
Yeah,
eventually get one. And I think that's like also a good lead in point to saying, don't just have your friend be your mod. Don't
that can lead to some stuff.
yeah, like not only can that like destroy friendships because you're like, why
Mhm.
did you do that? Like, oh, you said some heinous shit. You know, you said
Yeah,
you said some crazy shit, and you have a mod sword, so now people are gonna think I'm about that. I
yeah,
know you may want the help, and I respect that, but if you are gonna mod your friend, make sure you sit them down first and be like, "Don't do this, this, or this, or this."
yeah.
And they might laugh at you, be like, "Oh, dude, you're taking it so seriously." Well, yeah, it's your
It is
business.
serious.
It's your
Yeah,
business. Like, I don't care if you
yeah,
stream once a week. I don't care if you stream
yeah,
once a month. If you're streaming, at the end of the day, it's a business. Whether you're a
yeah,
part timer, whether you're a full timer, at the end of the day, it's still your business. And if you want to succeed in any way, shape, or form, whether you just do it as a hobby for some extra cash on the side,
yeah.
or whether you want to be full time, it is it is a reflection of yourself, and if you want to be successful in any way, even like I said,
Mhm,
even if it's just a side hustle, you need
mhm.
to make sure you set those rules and boundaries with your
Yeah,
boss as well, because
yeah.
you need to be very clear about what they should and shouldn't be doing.
Mhm.
And maybe part of that is just a learning experience as you go,
Yep.
but like, I definitely would avoid, again, making your friend a mod unless you sit them down first and be like,
Yeah.
don't do X things and do Y things, you know?
Yeah. As an example, like I stream maybe twice a month at most. And while I do my own modding, because, I'm your mod, I'm always in that mod headspace. I do have another mod who's a good friend of mine, who's a good friend of both of ours. And they know I've sat them down and been like, hey, this is how I want to handle it when certain situations or topics come into chat. This is how I want to handle it. And they know the routine. But I think you need to be able to enforce the rules, which is the really hard part. Otherwise, you're going to get people stepping out. And to another point, when you do handle things, you need to keep a log of these things.
Sure.
Even if you don't think that you're a big streamer and you need all these things organized, you do, because you need to look back on someone's history and what they've said. And which is not always good for that. You've got a chat history on Twitch, but you need to keep a log of what's been said in private. When you warn someone in whispers, in Twitch whispers, because you don't always want to say that stuff on stream or
Yeah.
in chat.
Also, just a quick point on that.
Yes.
If you are handling something over text
Mhm.
and not voice,
Mhm.
I mean,
Mhm.
obviously, always be careful what you say. That's a given.
Yeah, of course.
But my goodness gracious, I know it's so easy to just lose yourself in the moment,
Oh, yeah.
but no matter what someone is saying to you in
Mhm.
whispers or
Mhm.
in any kind of messaging format, if it's text, which is so easily capturable as
Oh,
like
yeah.
proof,
Yeah.
always be careful what you say.
Yeah.
Always give those customer service, like, like those nothing apologies that we all know,
Yeah.
like, all I mean, it may seem kind of dumb, but just do it.
Mm,
Because like, if someone's like, "You're a piece of garbage," you like, "I
yeah,
fucking hate you. I can't believe you banned me for that." Just be like, you know what?
yeah,
I'm really sorry you feel that way, and
yeah.
you're
I was gonna
always welcome
say,
back if you do something.
yeah,
Like
being a mod,
suck
being
it
a
up.
mod for you, I've had people come to me and be like, "Oh, why was I banned for clearly breaking this rule?" And I'm being like, "Hey, man, we have this for everybody. Um, it sucks that you don't agree. This is how I feel about it. This is how the streamer feels about it. If you don't agree, that's fine, but maybe this isn't the place for you. Um, or if you want to rethink about, this and follow our rules and our morals, then we would love to have you back. We can discuss this at any time. Always, always have your DMs open.
Yeah, never
You know,
block. I know you might be tempted to
no,
like block someone. Never block anybody. You never
yeah,
never
no. You
never
always want that line open.
yeah,
Yeah,
never burn a bridge because
no,
even if you think even if they're the most racist, like
mm,
horrible piece of shit garbage human, you always keep that line open because you never know.
yeah,
You never
yeah,
know. And you may say, well, you never know what. Well, you never know if they'll reach out. You'll never
yeah,
know if like, you know, they're like trying to go after you and like threaten you. Like
yeah,
you just don't know. Right. And you don't want to be blindsided by
yeah,
anything.
yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Because then it's very easy to like misconstrue things. So
Mm,
like they can like take a capture and be like, look, I tried to
yeah,
apologize and they just never responded to me or they blocked me, you know,
yeah. It's
and
like, and
like
then you can just be like, "Hey, man, we disagreed on something. Here's the whole thing,"
exactly,
kind of thing. This
exactly,
is a little snippet that you took, but here's the whole thing. Just yeah, just friendly but clear.
it's true.
you
Yeah,
you gotta be clear. If you can avoid it, don't say it on stream.
yep,
Don't be like, "Oh, well, I'm banning you for self promo or something like that."
yeah.
Just have your mod whisper them, shoot them a Twitch whisper,
Again,
just be like, "Hey
and
man."
again, it might be your
Yeah,
mod, but also if you're like
yeah,
if you have like one or two people,
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
referring to you because you are
yeah.
your own mod.
Keep the communication open if you do have mods. Make sure everyone's aware of what page you're on with this
Yep.
person.
Yeah. Don't message your
And
mods individually. Have a group
yeah, no,
chat or a channel
yeah,
in
or like
Discord or just something.
if you have a Discord channel,
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
Discord server.
You want them all to be on the same page.
Yeah, yeah. Just I know that Jazzy has a secret channel
Whoa, whoa,
that
whoa,
only
whoa,
we can
whoa.
access.
Can't be
Oh,
tell that.
sorry.
Can't tell people about that.
All the secrets
Not very
that
secret.
we just ping the Twitch mods and be like, hey, heads up, this has happened, this is how we're handling it. Or how Jazzy, how do you want to handle it? We all just go from there.
Yeah, and
Um,
I think a lot of people have this misconception, like, if you were like when you were a kid and you were
mm,
like, "Hey mom, can I do something?" And then they were like, "No." And then you're like, "Okay." And then you go ask your dad, and then your dad's
yeah,
like, "Oh yeah, sure." And that causes problems, right?
yeah,
I think a lot of people think like like this the modding is like that. They just assume that
yeah,
it's like, "Oh, well this mod got like was yeah, got me in trouble, but I can go
yeah,
spin this story to someone else." And it's like
exactly.
I feel like you don't understand that every
There's
single
communication
thing,
here.
like every
Yeah,
single thing you say to my mod, you might as well be saying
yep,
to everybody, including me,
yep,
because I know it.
yep,
I know it. We've had
yep.
so many people try to be like, "Oh, well, they banned me and I didn't even do anything wrong." It's like, "Oh, really?" Well, it's funny because I see this crazy chat message here where you DM'd that mod and
Mm,
told them that they're a piece of shit.
mm-hmm,
So
yeah,
I may act like I don't know because I'm not trying
yeah,
to give it more attention,
exactly. You're
but
trying to just
I
entertain.
100% I know everything that goes in and out of my
Yep,
mods' DMs, and they
yep,
know everything that goes in and out of each other's like DMs.
yep,
Like it's a
yep,
very big interconnected web, and I can tell you right now, don't let someone take advantage of the lack of communication between yourself and a
yep.
mod or mods, whether you have one or
There's
whether you have
also
10. You know?
there's also this thing that you can do as a streamer or as a mod within Twitch itself, which is called mod comments, and it's on a person's user card when you click on their name. And you could just add a comment about them that only mods will see and the streamer will see. That's if you're not big enough, if you haven't made a Discord server, just put something quickly there. If you do have a Discord server, you can get more into it there. Um, but just that's a useful tool that Twitch has done
Yeah,
themselves.
it's also really good
Um,
because, like, if you're by yourself, you can put that
yeah,
on there, and then eventually when you do
exactly.
hire a mod, you can just be like, "It's easy."
Look at that. Yeah.
The information's right there on that card.
Yeah,
You like,
exactly.
you
Yep.
just tell them the name, and they can just look at it.
Yep. They don't even need to be a follower. They can just you can look up anyone's name, even if they've never been in your stream before. I can give the resources on how to access someone's mod card, even if they've never been in your stream before. I
Hmm,
could add a mod comment for Amaranth in Jazzy's stream, kind of thing.
is true. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
has
I think
subbed.
yeah, I think we have a mod comment on there for Amaranth that says, "Look out for her coming into chat.
Yeah,
She is a jealous person because I pull in more viewers."
yeah, exactly. Quite 232, baby.
Yeah, Coach 32, exactly.
Streaming is all about communication, honesty, boundaries, um, which seems like a bunch of boring, sucky stuff, but is integral to your stream and your stream's future not falling apart at the seams.
I know a lot of people ask like, "Oh, what's the secret to success? Like, how do you be how do you be successful?" There's many, many reasons, and some of the things
So,
that we said today are part of those reasons. But I'm
mhm,
gonna say my two biggest reasons, and this is why I say, be the person that you want to see in your stream. If you want wholesome people, be wholesome. If you don't
mhm,
really care and you
mhm,
just kind of want banter no matter what it is, toxic or
mhm.
not, be that person, you know? Like, if you only want to bring in conspiracy theorists, super conservative white people who are racist, be that person,
Yeah,
Like, just be the person that you want to see in your stream. And
yeah,
and to that point, the two biggest things that you can have as a streamer that I think the two biggest main contributing factors is consistency
mhm,
and transparency.
yeah,
And one of the things I always hate when I see like streamers stream and they're like, oh, how do I grow? I don't know what's going on. Like, oh my gosh. And I'm like, oh, well, like, when do you stream? And they're like, oh,
yeah. Whenever.
whenever. It's like, okay, well, how can anyone expect to know when you're going to be online if you don't even know when you're going to be online? Like,
That is one of my points in my guide is a consistent schedule is a big help.
yep,
It's not, when you're huge and you've already made it, you can veer a little.
yeah, sure,
Um,
sure.
but starting out, you definitely need consistency.
Mhm,
People know when to expect you. They don't feel like they've ever missed out on any content.
yep,
If you do an extra stream one day, it's like, oh, they've missed this integral part of gameplay because it wasn't
yeah.
when you
It's like,
said
oh,
you'd be
I
streaming.
missed watching this person like play my favorite
Yeah,
part of this game. Like,
exactly.
you know,
Because they did something on the weekend when usually they do weekdays kind of thing. And also just they can plan for events in the future because they
true.
know that you stream Monday to Friday from 10 a.m., 8 hours minimum,
It's crazy.
for example.
That sounds so uncannily similar to my schedule.
I guess a little bit. Yeah. 10 a.m. British time. Um, but like, they can plan for events. They can plan around their schedule,
But
which,
yeah,
people may think, oh, they're not going to do that. I'm nobody. But, when people care, they care.
yeah, exactly. And so that's like in consistency, it's like, oh well, I work and it's really
Mm,
hard for me to get a schedule. Okay, so everybody has days off. Nobody works
yep,
7 days a week every
yep,
week. So
yep,
you need to find those days
yep.
that you don't normally work and
Hmm.
you need to stream. And he said, well, I don't really have time. 2 hours. And this
Who
is one
else? Yep,
yep. And this is one thing that I wish I had taken into account when I first started. And I've
yep,
kind of and like Danny said, consistency is key. So I've kind of already locked myself into it. I have speeches when I welcome people
yep,
that have centered around telling people my schedule because a lot of people
yep.
don't look at the about section. A lot of people won't scroll down. They don't read the
Nope,
rules. They don't read your
nope,
bio. They just
nope.
they just click in the chat box. Oh, here are the rules. Yeah, whatever. Okay. Like,
Yeah,
come on, we've all done it. I've done it.
yep.
It's fine. But
Especially when you raid into a chat, all you want to do is drop that raid message. What are your rules?
exactly.
Don't care. Let's raid.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So and then you never look at those, and then you never see those rules again, right?
Yeah.
So, um, it's so important, and I wish honestly that I could do this now, but like I said, I've kind of locked myself into it. And though I'm not salty about it. I love what I do, so it's okay.
Mhm.
But I definitely wish I had this knowledge before. I would probably only stream 5 to 6 hours instead of my eight
Yeah.
plus, because I
Yeah.
always say 8 hours a day minimum, because
Yeah.
because when I first started, I was like, well, I want to do this as a full-time job. I'm going to treat it as a full-time job.
And
The
full
thing
time is 8 hours. Yeah.
Exactly. The thing I didn't take into account
Yeah.
is I don't just stream 8 hours and I'm done. I do stuff before and after
No,
as well. So
exactly.
that factors into it. And I think one of the
Mm.
biggest things that you can do, other than your, transparency, which plays into being who you are, a lot of
Yeah.
people don't like fake people. So it's like
Yeah.
if I'm out here like being a character streamer, make it clear that you're a character streamer. Like
Yeah.
make it clear that you are like, I have this e-boy slash e-girl personality for stream.
Yeah.
I have
Yeah.
like I have this Tyler One mentality for stream.
Yeah.
Maybe my brand is me raging, but I don't do that in real
Yeah.
life. Like just be
Yeah.
kind of clear about that. Like, it's your favorite raging streamer, like,
Yeah.
rage streamer, egghead 01, like
Yeah.
just play into your brand, but make it obvious and make it
Yeah.
transparent about what
Yeah.
you are
You're still
doing.
human.
Exactly. The thing I wish I knew. So I
Yeah.
kept you in suspense. I would only stream 5 to 6 hours now because,
Yeah.
again, before and after, one of the most important things you can do after consistency and transparency is is networking.
Mm. Oh
Networking is
yeah.
so important, and I
Yeah.
know I mean it's so important on Twitter. I mean, you want to have
Mhm.
all the socials: Twitter, Instagram, TikTok,
Yep.
Facebook. God, there's nothing I find more. Sorry, the platform formerly known as Twitter, now known as X. But you know, there's nothing I find more frustrating than when someone new who I've never met before
Mm.
raids me, or even if it's someone I do know, and I go to
Mhm.
thank them on Twitter and they don't have a Twitter account. And then I'm
Yeah.
just like, so irritating. Like, how can I tell people? And it's like, because, well, I can just thank them on stream or I can go into their stream and thank them. It's like, okay, sure. But then I'm not telling other people that may not have known. Like, you need to
Yeah.
have, I don't care if you have 0 followers on Twitter, just have a damn Twitter account so I can tag you, so
Yeah.
people can know,
That's what
oh,
I did.
that's this person. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I don't even care
Yeah.
if you don't, if you yourself don't even have to use Twitter, but
Yeah.
have the account set up with your
Yeah.
link to your Twitch, so
Yeah.
I
Exactly.
and other people can tag you.
Exactly.
It's so
Because and
frustrating.
people might say, oh, you can just put the name. It's like then I have to get the name, then I have to go to Twitch, and then I have to go to twitch.tv/name. It's just, or I could
Yeah,
just click.
yeah, exactly.
Go to
Or
the Twitter, go
yeah,
to the
and
Twitch.
also like I don't want to put like a gigantic link in my Twitter post.
Yeah.
For many reasons. One, it looks
Yeah.
ugly. Two, it takes
Mhm.
up way too much of my character count
Yeah.
in a tweet.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
also, what if I get rated by like three different people? I'm not gonna say
Exactly.
thanks at streamer 01, streamer 02, and https twitch.tv streamer 3. Like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Like,
Exactly.
so just have damn Twitter. All right,
Yeah.
Twitter's a fantastic tool, and if you really
Yeah.
like, but at the bare minimum, just fucking have it. At the minimum, like I said, you're trying to figure out your schedule because you need
Mhm.
to have one, even if it's difficult for you. At the very bare minimum, 2 hours.
Yep. Yep.
2 hours. Pick the days where you can spare 2 hours minimum. That's it. You
Yep.
don't need to do more. You don't need to do
Yep.
less. I mean, definitely don't do less, but
Yeah.
at least 2 hours out of your
Yeah.
day on the days that you can do that, and
Mhm.
make that consistent. And then you can network
Mhm.
everywhere around there. And you might say, oh, two
Yeah.
hours doesn't seem like anything. Yeah, I know people who are almost partner and who are partner who only do
Mhm.
2 hour streams. That's it.
So, yeah.
And that's their entire shtick. So
Yep.
I can't stress it enough. 2 hours at the very least. Anything more than that is
Yeah.
up to you. I
Mhm.
wish I had known, because now I spend about, I say, oh yeah, I stream for 8 hours, but I do so much more around that
Yeah.
really I'm working like 10 to 11 hour days.
Yeah.
And
And then you
and
gotta live your life. You gotta have your relationship and your
yep,
family
yep,
and,
yep, yep.
do your bills and your shopping. And it's like, it's
Exactly.
a
And
lot in
and
24 hours.
yeah, and a lot of people don't have the luxury of being like a full-time content creator. It's like, oh, well, I want to be
Yeah.
one. Okay, well, you got to start somewhere. I was lucky
Yeah.
enough to be able to start that from like day
Yeah.
one, but a lot of people
Yep.
can't. They have to
Yeah.
they have a job, they have a life, they
Mhm. Mhm.
stream for either
Mhm.
extra income, hoping that one day they can make it, and then when they do make it, they can quit their job, right? Like that's the hope.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you won't get there if you don't have a schedule. And
No.
eventually, like, and if you start with 2 hours, but then you start becoming more and more successful and having more and more time, no one's going to complain about more hours. But if
Yeah,
you
no.
but if you hold yourself to a standard of eight
Mhm.
hours like me, if you lessen that, people will complain.
Yeah.
and and
I do feel like you
you
could
know,
change it. It would just have to be
you would
a
take it you would
gradual thing.
yeah, and you might take a hit,
Yeah,
and then that
exactly.
might even hit your mental, and you just don't want to deal with that.
Yeah,
Like it's just not
exactly.
worth it. So
Yeah.
it's like cooking. You can
Yeah.
always add more, but taking away
Mhm.
is much harder. So 2 hours minimum. You don't need to stream more than that. But if you're doing the
No.
2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, just make sure you're networking. Be in other people's
Yep.
streams. Talk to
Yep.
them. Don't just talk to the streamer. Don't talk to the streamer. Talk
Oh
to
god, no.
everybody in chat because as like especially if people know you're a streamer and you go into like their
Mhm.
chat and they're like, "Oh, he's just going to talk to the streamer." Like
Yep.
talk to everybody. You want to be
Yeah.
part of the community. You
Yep.
don't just want to be like, "Hey, yeah, I'm this dude talking to the streamer trying to, get that
Yep.
clout." You know what I mean? Like that's not what it's about.
No.
You need to find someone that you genuinely enjoy because if you don't enjoy them, then there's no real point in talking to them. And then you just need to keep talking to them. And the thing is, most small streamers, if not, well, definitely not all of them, but most small streamers will always shout out other streamers.
Yeah.
Always.
Hell yeah.
Every single one of them.
So
So,
supportive.
yeah, exactly. So, that being the case, don't go into other people's streams and only talk to a streamer. Find someone that you like,
Mhm.
immerse yourself in that community. Don't talk about your
Yep.
stream. And eventually, it will come up. It will come up
And
that you're a
use
streamer,
and for example, use the discords. Discords are a great thing for communities.
especially
And
when you're starting off. Yeah.
a lot of discords will have a promote yourself channel. And that's where you can, without worrying about, coming across as self promoting, that's where you can just drop a link when you're live. And the streamer or people in the streamers community can be like, hey, I didn't actually know this good friend we've made streams. Let's go
Yep.
give them some love.
Yep.
And it's
Exactly.
you give and you take when it comes to that.
Also,
It's yeah.
just because you go into someone's stream and drop a sub or drop bits
Hmm.
or like you raid someone,
Hmm.
you can't expect anything back.
No, you
It is
can't.
not.
No.
I think getting into that mindset is very easy,
Yeah.
but it's definitely one you want to try and avoid. And I know it might be hard, but
Mm.
like, you're like, "Oh, I rated them," but they haven't even come by to say hello. All right.
Sucks.
Well, that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sucks to suck.
Yeah,
Move on. And if you like that person, just keep going back. And eventually they probably
exactly.
will, you know?
You have to get out of the mindset of going there to get something out of it. You
Exactly.
go there because you like the streamer. That's all that should matter. Or
Exactly.
you like the streamer, you like their content. If you do get something out of it, that's great.
Yep.
But, the only thing that you should base going to a stream off of is enjoying the stream.
It's true. Or I mean
You're
like
gonna
or maybe you're trying to like raid someone new, but that's why you kind of
Mm,
vet them out before.
yeah,
You can even do it on
support the
stream.
stream.
You
Yeah,
can be like,
yeah,
oh,
exactly.
hey guys, let's go find someone new. Oh, I kind of like this
Yeah,
guy's vibe. Let's go raid him.
yeah,
And then if they
yeah.
never show up again, well, it is what it is. You liked their
You gave it
vibe.
a shot.
You
Yeah,
give it a shot, you know?
yeah.
And if you do like their
Um,
vibe, just keep going back, you know?
exactly.
Like I
Keep
said,
going back.
immerse yourself in the community.
Yep.
And that's where kind of consistency plays in, not only to your schedule,
Hmm.
but also just to showing up to other people. Something
Yeah.
I've been kind of struggling with lately because I've been so busy. My birthday was, recently. I'm
Hmm.
leaving next week for 2 weeks against my will. Like, there's so many things, life doesn't stop for you, right?
Nope.
It's still and it's hard to be consistent around that. But
Mm.
you got to do your best. And I'm definitely like, I know that, and I'm definitely been suffering. Like, I haven't been popping into my homies streams that I genuinely like lately.
Yeah.
I haven't been saying hello for the last like 2.5 weeks just because my life has been
Mm.
so hectic. And
Yep.
I'll still pop up in their streams to lurk, but
Yeah.
Like, I haven't been there to even say hello or anything, and
Yeah.
it's you know, you don't want to leave that too long, at least in my opinion, because you know I'm very anxious, so I feel like they're gonna be like, oh, he doesn't even come by anymore. He's probably just here.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's fake. He was only here to try and give my
Remove the
support.
VIP badge. Who
Yeah,
is that?
yeah, exactly. Jazzy who? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I know. But yeah, consistency on all things, you know,
Mhm.
consistency in communication, consistency in networking, consistency in schedule with your stream. This always consistency, and then always transparency as well. I would definitely make sure with your mods, again, even if it's only your friend, even if it's only one person, whatever, have a safe word ready. So you know if the conversation that you're on needs to either stop or move on. And you can do
I
that too.
remember.
And you
Yeah.
can do so I'm streaming, so I can't type Monka S in the chat. So my
Yeah.
my safe word is like no cap. Like
Yeah.
I mean
No cap.
I say like no cap all the time, but
Yeah.
it's very obvious because you can see
He
my
will
face and
look
everything.
directly
Yeah,
at camera
I
and be
like
like,
look.
Fanny, no cap.
Yeah, exactly. And I'll say it, like I'll say their name, and like I won't be like,
Yeah.
oh no cap for real, on God, you know. I will say like that. I'll be like, Benny, like no cap, you stop, you know,
Yeah.
and that's it. And then I move on.
Yeah.
And other people might be like, oh, he said no cap, but like Benny knows, okay, I need to
Yep.
stop talking about that. Like
Yeah.
is very like you need to have that because it's a very easy way to just stop what's happening without
Example.
having to discuss it.
As an example, without like giving away exactly what this was about, there was a time where someone came into your chat, normal viewer that we've had before, and said something that Jazzy didn't know what it meant, um, and kind of just did away with it. But I knew that it was an insult, it was not true, and that we needed to shut that topic down. So I just said, Monka S in chat, went into his DMs and was like, hey, this is what they said and this is what it means. Um, None of that.
Oh yeah. So I'm immediately changed topic and I never said it again.
Yep,
And it's just
yeah, exactly.
yeah, it's that quick.
And I whispered them as well because, you know, a mod's job is to, you know, be like, hey, we are not actually talking about that topic in stream and we don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, and also
We've gone over it before.
make sure your mods, and I know it's maybe like repeating myself, but make sure your mods
Yeah.
reply to people in the same way
Yes,
that you would
yes,
reply to people. There's that professionalism.
yes.
It's like, hey
Yeah.
man, I know like you may feel a certain way about something, and I appreciate that.
Yep.
And you're always welcome here. But let's
Mhm.
try and not talk about that topic, okay, dude? You know, heart
Yeah.
emoji, whatever. And then I'll be
Yeah.
like, well, fuck you. I'm sorry. And then just make sure. I'm sorry you feel that
Yeah.
way. It is what
Yeah.
it is.
Sorry you
You
feel
know,
that way.
you can't because the last thing what you do is your mod to fucking blow up on somebody and you find
Yep.
out about it afterwards. Because at the end of the day,
No, yeah.
you're not sitting with your mod watching them DM, right? You're doing something
Yeah.
else. So you don't want them to come back
Yeah,
and be
you
like,
can't protect yourself all the time,
exactly.
and your
So
mods are an extension of you.
and just for all other small streamers out there, you know, you maybe I see some crazy setups. Some people stream on laptops. Some people stream
Yeah.
on like you know, oh God forbid, one monitor. Like, so
That's how I started.
no, exactly, and I get that.
Oh,
And I
starting on one monitor and having your game, and then having to alt tab to OBS or having the chat up on your phone. It's like,
yeah,
oh god.
exactly. But thankfully, OBS has a really nice setting that keeps it off of your stream, which is actually really good.
They did it when I started.
Yeah, well, yeah, they did what I started either. But I just want to say, equipment. You don't need better equipment to be a better streamer.
No.
Please, 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 if you're not pulling in the numbers of the viewers you want, don't blame your equipment. It's
No.
not your equipment's fault. All right.
I wanted a
And
potato.
yeah, I don't want to be a fucking asshole, and I don't want to be that
Yeah.
guy. But you know, it kind of goes back to that tough love. If you're not succeeding, it's not because you don't have a fucking $400 mic, like, or a $300 camera or a green screen or what.
Yeah.
No, you don't need that thing. You don't need those things. I didn't have those things. I have those things now, but I didn't. But those are investments I made in myself
Yeah.
with the help of my
exactly.
community.
Yeah.
And that's also like plays into my transparency thing. It's like like at the end of the day, as a streamer, you're a public figure. You are
Yep.
funded by people. You might as well be
Yep.
crowdfunded because that's
Yep.
essentially what it is. You are funded
Yep.
by people for the people. I'm sure on some level people know that that their money is going to go to your
Mhm.
groceries, your food, your bills.
Yep. Yep.
Sure. But also, maybe people don't want to know that their money that you're spending is going on like to cocaine and hookers, because they probably was a fortune. You're like, you know what I mean? Like,
Exactly.
it's about transparency. And so that's why,
Yep.
and I'm not saying like put donation goals and be like, this is what I want. I don't really like donation goals, and I'll get into overlays
Yeah.
here in a minute. But
Mm.
like everything I have, for the most part, other than like my parents, which even though my parents are annoying and not the greatest, give it up
Thank you.
to Mama and Daddy Jazz for letting me do what I
Mhm.
love doing, supporting my dreams,
Yep.
and thinking I'm good
Yep.
enough to go get it. Could do it
Yep.
with I definitely couldn't do it without them 100%. But eventually, I'm for the most part, I am crowdfunded purely by my community, and that's just a fact. And I think it's really important that like you just kind of tell people. You don't need to go into a long shtick or anything, but like tell people what
No.
their money's going towards, right? So I'll be like, oh guys, thank you so much. Like you guys have donated so much. Like I finally saved up enough to buy a new camera. Like
Yep.
now they know, like, oh, that's really nice. My money that I donated went towards a new camera. Like that's sick. You
Yep.
know, it doesn't need, like I said, it doesn't need to be like a donation goal or anything. It's just
Mhm.
eventually when you are saving up for the thing that you want, you can just be like, oh guys, thank you all so much. I finally was able to afford that stream deck. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like you want to tell them that, because then it kind of promotes them to like donate more because they know that you're not wasting
Yeah.
their money. Whereas like if you just say like, "Oh yeah, like I went on vacation last week," and
It's like
it's
with
like
our money.
now, granted, of course, everybody should take a vacation at some point.
Of course. Of course.
Don't ever not let people know what their money is being spent on,
Yeah.
right? Like just be
Exactly.
like, "Oh, thank you so much for that donation. That's one more drop in the bucket towards getting my stream deck, new camera, lighting,
Yep.
whatever."
Yep.
Like
Yep.
you don't even need to do it when you saved it up completely, just like as it comes in. And on that point, please don't think you need to have a camera to stream.
No.
Some of the
No. I
best,
didn't.
so
I didn't
yeah,
do it for like a year.
I know big partnered streamers that literally
Mhm.
don't even have a camera.
Yep.
And I'm going to
Yep.
tell you right now, if you're going to prioritize things 100%, prioritize your microphone first.
Oh God. Yes.
There is because as a streamer, your main job is talking. No matter if you're doing arts, crafts, gaming,
Mhm. Mhm.
music, every single one of them talk.
Yeah.
That's like the main thing that you're doing is
If you can
communication.
help it, don't use, and I know plenty of streamers who do this, and sometimes they can't help it, but if you can help it, don't use the cheap Xbox mic.
Oh my gosh, it's the worst. I know if you're a console streamer, yeah, I know if you're a console streamer, you may not be able to do that, and that's fine.
Exactly. It's fine if you can't
But
help it,
invest
but
in
if
it.
you
Like
can,
the first thing you're gonna invest in,
yeah,
headset. Invest in
yeah,
like a good one. Like you want,
yeah,
or I know actually Xboxes and PS5s like and PS4s, like they're getting pretty advanced. A lot of them just support dedicated mics,
yeah.
and just do that. It
Okay,
is like
get a standing mic
yeah,
on your desk, kind of
yeah.
thing, or just next to you.
That's the first thing you want to invest in. And
Yep.
don't fall for branding. If it says gamer on it,
Oh,
it's just marked up and it's probably shittier. Just get
yeah,
a mic, like do actual research. Speak into your mic properly, learn how your mic works,
hmm,
and then apply filters to your mic on
oh yeah,
OBS. On OBS. I mean, there's
yeah,
always ways to tinker with it. I'm sure like lots of
hmm,
mics come with their own programs. Tinker with that
hmm,
too. And then go to OBS, and these are the three things you want to add. Gain, even if you leave the gain at 0, put it in there. All right.
hmm,
Gain, compressor, limiter. You
hmm,
don't need to mess with those settings. I don't even really know what they do. All I know is 100%, you add that compressor at the default volume, at the default settings. You add that limiter at the default settings, and it will just be better. I promise it'll just be better. Also, noise suppression. If
yep,
if the mic itself doesn't already do that, if the mic
yeah,
itself doesn't already do that, like in the program, then add a noise suppression, and
hmm,
then lastly, and this isn't for everybody because again, the mic may support this better, but if you have a cheaper mic, like how I started out, then you want to add a noise gate. And
yeah,
noise gate and gain will be the only two things you fuck with. Everything else, leave it at default. But the gain, if you need to be louder, it's an easy slider. That's it.
yeah,
And the noise gate, is really good because it means people like if you're doing something, people won't like hear it. Like if I'm breathing, my mic won't like pick it up because it hasn't crossed that threshold to get the mic
Yeah.
open, right? Like
Yeah.
it hasn't crossed that threshold. And that's really important. So
Mm.
make sure you have that noise gate and you can just tinker with that and just like just talk normally, pretend you're streaming, which by the way, if you're streaming, and I know this is an obvious given, people say it all the time, but again, I see so many people not doing it. They're like, how can I be a good streamer if I don't have viewers to talk to? Please, for the love of God, shut the fuck up.
I was about to
Yeah,
circle back to that as soon
yeah.
as I could.
Talk to
Um,
yourself. Talk to
yeah.
yourself. Narrate what you're doing. It doesn't matter
Yeah.
if you're
What are
doing,
you doing in
yeah.
yeah, what are you doing in your game? What are you doing with your craft?
Yeah,
You know?
music. Hey guys, I'm just kind
Yeah.
of poking this. What is it called? But like when you do the cotton stitching, whatever. I'm
Oh,
just,
felt.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I'm
felting.
just, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
just, I'm just felting this thing right now, giving it
Yeah.
some good freaking stabs. A little stabby stab here, a
Yeah.
little stabby stab there. Don't worry, I'm not a murderer. But I am
Yeah.
a professional stabber. Like just narrate what you're doing. Talk
Yeah.
about what it's
I'll
gonna
go
be,
into a
how long it's gonna
stream.
be.
I'll
Like,
click on a
oh,
stream, they're like, oh, they're playing this great game that I like, and be like, I don't want to say anything because I don't know this person, so I just want to pick up on what they're putting down, but they're not putting down anything.
yeah, they're just playing
I've
the
been
game.
watching them for 5 minutes,
Yeah, and then you'll see,
and
like,
I don't.
some rando talking their stream, and then they're like, "Oh, they have a
Yeah,
really good personality." Why are they talking all the time? Like,
exactly.
it's the worst.
And
Just
I'll
narrate
click
what you're
off
doing.
after 5 minutes if they haven't said anything. It's just,
Yep.
I, as a viewer, should not have to poke the entertainer to entetain.
Yeah,
They're
and,
on the
like,
platform. They should be doing the entertaining,
yeah, think
which
about, like,
sounds,
no, it's true, but, like, think about, like, stand-up
yeah,
comedians. Most
exactly.
stand-up comedians don't talk to the audience. I mean, sure, if there's someone
No,
heckling, you can do
yeah.
that, but, like,
Some
most of
people
them.
do crowd work, but
Yeah.
they have things that they're going to
Exactly. Like
say.
exactly. So like most comedians, every successful
Mhm,
comedian,
mhm,
the ones who have the Netflix specials, they're not
mm.
talking to the audience. They're
No,
just being funny.
yeah.
And you might
And
think
then the
you're
audience laughs.
yeah, and you might not think you're funny, and that's okay. You're not up there to do a comedy set, but like
Yeah,
talk about your game. Talk about what's going through your mind. What happened when you're in that tense situation where you're surrounded by
yeah,
like three dudes and you have no ammo? Like, be like, oh shit, fuck,
yeah,
I'm out of ammo, guys. I don't even know what I'm doing. I was like, well, I don't have any guys to talk to. It doesn't matter. Just say it. Like, speak as if you are already a big streamer. Last thing I want to bring up, and I said I'd talk about this, is just overlays. There's a lot of awesome free ones out there. There's even some on
yeah.
Etsy, like packages that you can get.
I
It's
love
all
those.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
like
It's all
5 bucks.
yeah, $5. Yeah, but there's also a bunch of free ones too. Also, on that note, if you're gonna get an artist, be careful. I've been scammed. There's so
Yeah,
many scammers out there. If it says like
especially sliding into your chat.
yeah, yeah, sliding into your chat or DMs. Don't trust anyone who slides into your chat or DMs. Um, how I found my artist in my editors, other than well, I
Mm,
have a new artist now, but I had an old artist who did all my really
mhm.
cool stuff, but I don't know what happened to them. They had like 13.7 thousand followers on Twitter and everything, and then eventually,
And they
I
just
don't know
like
what happened. They just vanished. They literally just
that gif of the guy just
they just deuces and pieced out. Like
peace.
the
Yeah.
account deleted itself. It wasn't even like
Wow.
banned. It was just gone. They just
Yeah.
disappeared. But I don't
Yeah.
know why. They didn't scam me. I paid for
No.
work and it's
Yeah.
amazing. I still use it to this day. Um
Yeah.
I don't know. I just don't know what happened to them. I just wish they had given
Yeah.
me the actual. So if you're gonna pay an artist for something, make sure they give you the Photoshop files or whatever they use
Oh
to do
yeah.
it.
Oh yeah.
Don't just get the finished product. Ask for the
Yeah.
file itself too, because then if
That way
they
your next person
yeah
can,
yeah. So
either
if
work with
they
it or see the backbone
exactly.
structure of
Like they
what they did.
don't. So if they like piece out, like my guy did, you can still edit
Mm,
that without having to like
exactly.
do weird Photoshop like cutting and
Mm.
yeah. Please ask for your Photoshop files. You don't really need to ask for the
Yeah.
Photoshop files for like emotes, but like for
Yeah.
overlays, 100%
Yeah.
ask for those files. Go look at their work. They'll always post their
Yeah.
work,
Oh yeah.
and you will see a very big trend of like, oh, this looks very samey. And it's because they're a
Yeah.
scammer. A lot of the times,
Yep.
like there's this program, I don't remember what it's called, but there's a lot of them. There's also websites. And
Yep.
what they do is they they like basically they have a lot of free shit on that website. And
Yeah.
then if you pay like $12 a month or something, then you get access to more. And I tell you right now, there's so many people that stream and stuff. It's so easy to scam. And you make that $12 back with one commission with like an extra like
Yeah,
$40 on top. And you get
exactly.
really garbage shit. Also, if you're paying for work, if they're a real artist worth their salt, they do not mind how demanding you are. Like, don't be
Oh
an
God, no.
yeah, don't be an asshole. If you're paying for something, like that's your money.
You're allowed to make changes.
Yeah,
You're allowed
like
to make
don't feel
changes,
bad. Don't feel bad. Like,
yeah.
like don't be an asshole, but don't feel bad. Just be
They
like,
want to give you the product that you
exactly.
want
Yeah,
that will get you to talk good about them.
yeah,
So they want to do a good job for you. So you
exactly.
say, "And this person did a good job."
Exactly.
You
So
know,
like if you say,
everyone
oh,
wants to be happy here.
yeah, exactly. So like just be like, oh, I don't really like that corner. Can you change it?
Mm,
Like,
yeah,
just tell them. Like always
yeah,
tell them. Don't be afraid to tell them. But
yeah,
I just, because I was kind of guilty of that. And just
mm,
if they're a real artist, they
yeah,
want you to tell them what's wrong because it makes
yeah,
it easier for
yeah.
them too. They don't want to guess what you want. The overlays that you get, I see this time and time again. I hate it. I hate it so much. And I know maybe I'm the only one because there are big people who succeed with these kinds of overlays. But again, I
Mm,
think it's mainly just because, you know, they're extremely attractive people. And
yeah,
or they came from like Instagram or TikTok and now they're
yeah.
streaming.
They
But
already had something
yeah,
and
yeah,
now,
yeah. They already
yeah,
had something and they're trying to transition into something else.
yeah,
But my God, if you're starting out, please, for the love of God, especially if you're gaming, do not make the game small. Like,
no,
don't put gigantic bezels. You may not know what a bezel is.
yeah,
Borders. Don't put borders around the
yeah,
game. I've seen so many
yeah.
people put like these like inch to 2 inch plus thick borders around the gameplay. And it's like, oh, but it looks
Yeah.
so nice. It's like a nice frame and I get to decorate the outside. Stop.
Not for a game, it doesn't.
Yeah, for a game, I don't
Yeah,
care. I don't care about your little fucking like plant vines going
yeah,
around like the
yeah,
game. It's stupid. I'm sorry.
yeah,
I know you may think it looks nice, and I'm sure it does. It's
mm,
stupid. Don't do it.
yeah.
And
It's
I see,
not a game thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
don't think to yourself, oh well, I'm gonna make the game smaller and then put myself because I don't want to cover the gameplay. My sibling in Christ, please, you covering a smaller part of the game
Yeah,
where you can even
yeah,
move yourself around to maybe not block out UI elements, which I don't even care. I'll block out my HP. Who cares?
yeah,
Like, like you blocking a little bit of that is
yeah,
far better than making the game like 2/3 of the entire screen and then 1/3 of
yeah,
that is just nonsense. You can have all that nice borders and all the nice overlays and all the nice like pretty things in like your intermission slash just chatting screen. Like, oh, okay, I'm gonna talk to my chat for like a minute in a break. That's fine. Because then you're not talking, I mean, sorry, then you're not playing the game and you're the focus. And so that's okay because then it should only be you anyway. Or maybe you like put the game up to like the corner in like a smaller window so people can just like see it's paused or something. But regardless, you're the focus there, so that's fine. But don't in the main gameplay screen, do not make the gameplay smaller, especially because a lot of people watch on phones. And so if you're making the gameplay already smaller than it is, that's horrible. You don't want to do that. It's just something to keep in mind while you are streaming. I hope this really helped you. Cover the basics. This one's kind of long. Remember, we will be having guests in the future. I am sorry this went a little bit longer than intended, but there's a lot to cover, and I just think for the basics, and I just hope that you take everything that we said to heart. Obviously, there will be more coming, and like I said, we do this once every 2 weeks, and as well as provide you with some tools and such. I hope you guys, get some, like I said, some use out of this. And there'll be plenty more advice, as well as, like I said, amazing guides, materials that we'll be providing. I know a lot of people struggle around social media. We've got someone who is actually social media famous, at least on TikTok, and we will have. They've agreed to like put together a little like document detailing like their guide on how to navigate like TikTok, especially, as well as some other things. And hopefully we can even have them on the stream once. But these are all materials that you will get access to for subscribing to this level. But anyway, we love you all. Like I said, it's Faux the Streamers. Thank you again to our Patreon subscriber, Jester. And as always, stay jazzy. I love your face. And I'll catch you guys in the next one.